Hey guys, how's it going? You may notice a little bit of a rebranding of the channel. We're going to be Northwoods Metal Railroad from now on. I've been Shoal 4, which was just kind of an odd name I came up with when I was 10 years old, and I've been F&R HO Scale Equipment, which was a company, no, not a company, but I wanted to start making agriculture related products for model trains, and I had a lot of ideas of things to 3D print and to build just real unique things that you don't see anybody else producing as a manufacturer because they're too big to, there's not enough sales for it. That was the idea with that, but I got that 3D printer and I was printing all sorts of cool stuff, and I was doing the HO scale model farm build. Had like 3 episodes, but then at the start of that, I was maybe 3 months in is when I moved out to Colorado. So I didn't really have time to do any 3D printing, and just didn't even have time for trains or space to do anything with trains. But this is kind of me getting back into it and focusing on the direction I'm going with the videos. I'm going to be doing WC, Wisconsin Central. Eventually, I'd like to have a big Wisconsin Central layout where I model like Fond du Lac to the area I grew up, north of Milwaukee, like to Plainville and stuff like that. But that's going to be a big layout in the future. That's kind of always been my goal. It hasn't changed in at least 6-7 years now. But this container, obviously I'm not going to do anything that vast in this space. So for this container, I want to focus on just a branch line to the Northwoods. That's all I want this to be. And it's not going to be anywhere specific. It's going to be just an average of everything you would see up north of Wausau. Still doing research on it because I am trying to find some more accurate prototypes to model. But it's just going to be a proto freelance layout, making up industries, but basing them off real ones, and not keeping to any real world stuff, but just making it look real and just a good overview of what you would see up north Wisconsin. So that's what the new name is about, and I'm just trying to get this front room done. Still making plans and thinking about different ideas for what I want to do for foam insulation. I'm realizing more and more having some kind of insulation in the rest of the room is pretty important. The other night when I was building that wall, the ceiling especially, but the walls were all damp, and it's kind of something I never thought about, how bad that would be. If you're trying to heat it at all, it's going to condense on the walls. So I'm gonna need to do at least foam board insulation. The issue with that is you do have the air pockets behind with the ribs, but there are ways to do it where you can put a strip of spray foam, basically glue the foam board to it, and that's something. And then maybe for the ceiling in the big room, I'll do spray foam, just a quick coating of it, just to have a barrier, maybe like a 1/2 inch of spray foam, and then do board on top of that, because the ceilings were going to lose the most. But I'm planning all that, but what I know for sure is we're spray foaming 1.5 to 2 inches in the workroom, which will be on the opposite end of the doors on the container. So I'm gonna be planning on putting a door in here. Probably gonna cut that in soon. Then I can get to my framing, spray foam the framing in, and I'll run electrical maybe temporarily to start with. I know I showed you guys that panel I have, but I'm gonna run all the power in the walls like you would a house and spray foam it in the room at least. And same with the wall, separating the two rooms. There's gonna be some switches in there, so I'll leave that open until we get that all figured out. And then panel the backside. I still do want to insulate the two rooms separately, even if the big half is insulated. Then I don't have to heat the whole thing. So still on track for all that, just kind of going to details and figuring out what I want to do. What I'm working on right now is the perimeter of railroad ties underneath. These are 8-footers in a 40-foot container, so figured it'd be about 4, but I think I got an extra one for each side because originally I was planning on just making them tight. Thinking about it more, it was snowy when I set this here, so it'd be pretty stupid to lock all that moisture in. And either way, soil's always going to be bringing moisture up out of the ground. So we're going to do just a little space between each railroad tie. I could string line this. I could get these railroad ties perfectly level. The spot was very level to start with. There might be a few humps. This one I had to trim down just a little bit to even get that in there. And it looks odd now. It's not all the way down. I lifted up each end, put some blocks in, and then I'll just lift it up, set it back down. These will settle. I'm not really worried about it. It'll be level enough. It's just kind of confusing when I'm inside the container because I have to constantly resist the urge of trying to level studs and trying to level anything, because if it isn't perfectly level, it's all going to be off next time I move it. So everything's just measurement from top or bottom. As long as we're square with the container, that's all that matters. If I have any issues with settling over winter and next spring when everything thaws out, I'll adjust it, get it figured out, but it's not going to be so far off that railroad cars are going to be rolling away when you put them in a siding or something, you know? So I got to do this side still. It's getting dark. We'll see if I get to it, but yeah, so that's where we're at. After my little welding project for those pieces of angle iron, you can see we got some, probably lit on fire while I was doing it, but I came out and checked and nothing was on fire still. So we'll just have to spray those so they don't rust, but at least we're not screwing anything through the wall. It's such a weak spot because screws will work their way out and, you know, we'll lose that seal even if it had caulk on it or something. That stuff doesn't last. But that's where we're at with that. Here's our 30 amp power while we're outside. I may as well show you. So I'll just run an extension cord and we'll find a spot that makes sense to go in. You know, we'll have a weak spot where we're running power in. We'll have a weak spot where the air conditioner is. And we'll have a weak spot with the door on the other side. But that's a whole lot better than 100 screws through the roof and like that. But we'll keep them caulked. I'll have to look underneath here, because if I could go through here and then up, that might be better, and I'd be fine with that. That'd be at least not water coming down hitting a cord or any type of fitting coming out of the wall, and having a potential spot to leak, because then the caulk's not going to deteriorate if it's in the bottom and no sun hitting it or anything. But yep, that's where we're at with this now. Thanks for watching. Northwoods Mile Railroad. I'll see you next time.